Alright, this is a retake of part 4. I watched some of it already, so we're just gonna go ahead and continue on. Cause I had music in the background, bro, and I realized, oh shoot, YouTube doesn't like that. So, and I know I could put the description or whatever, like the details, the music. It's not for me, like it's from the creator, who it was from, whatever. But I'm not trying to do all that. So we're just gonna continue this video, and just know this is part 4. And yeah.
Take from the rich tax out of the class. The take from the rich crowd came up with, the rich always found a way to outsmart them. That is how taxes were eventually levied on the middle class. The rich outsmarted the intellectuals solely because they understood the power of money, a subject not taught in schools. How did the rich outsmart the intellectuals? Once the take from the rich tax was passed, cash started flowing into government coffers. Initially, people were happy. Money was handed out to government workers and the rich. It went to government workers in the form of jobs
Wait, so once the take from the rich tax was passed, cash started flowing into government coffers. Initially, people were happy. Money was handed to the government workers, and the rich. Okay, and the rich. It went to government workers and workers in the form of jobs
and pensions,
pensions
and it went to the rich
went to the rich
via their factories,
via their
receiving government contracts. The government received a large pool of money, but the problem was the
oh,
fiscal management of that money. The government deal between government contracts. The government received a large pool of money, but the problem was the fiscal management of that money. The government ideal is to avoid having excess money. Of that money received a large pool of money, but the problem was the fiscal management of that money. The government ideal is to avoid having excess money. If you fail to spend your allotted funds, you risk losing it in the next budget. You would certainly not be recognized for being efficient. In the next budget. You would certainly not be recognized for being efficient. Business people, on the other hand, are rewarded for having excess money and are applauded for their efficiency. As this cycle of growing government spending continued, the demand for money increased, and the tax the rich idea was adjusted to include lower income levels down to the very people who voted it in, the poor and the middle class. True capitalists used their financial knowledge to simply find an escape. They headed back to the protection of a corporation. But what many people who have never formed a corporation don't know is that a corporation is not really a thing. A corporation is merely a file folder with some legal documents in it, sitting in some attorney's office and registered with a state government agency. See, it's not a big building or a factory or group of people. A corporation is merely a legal document that creates a legal body without a soul. Using it, the wealth of the rich was once again protected. It was popular because the income tax rate of a corporation is less than the individual income tax rates. In addition, certain expenses could be paid by a corporation with pre-tax dollars. This war between the haves and have-nots has raged for hundreds of years. The battle is waged whenever and wherever laws are made, and it will go on forever. The problem
We're not gonna continue this. I'm too tired to do this right now. So we're gonna continue this another time. Let's activate and boom, I showered. All right, we're gonna do this part 4. Yep. Just I only did like 15 minutes, I think. So